Shut up and sit down.
Let's remember what we're doing in sales. We're moving people from confused to excited, from lost to found, from helpless to happy. How do we make these people happy? We put them on a bridge and lovingly force them across. But there are many ways to move people. You can push or pull, drag or guilt, or lead them. And I found that leading people is the best way to persuade, but this is not easy. It requires more discipline and commitment to time. You must paint pictures that lead them to choose you, and that can be difficult, especially when you deal with prospects who lie to you. And I think we all understand that frustration. Mom had a son named Ricky. Ricky decided that for financial reasons, he would allow Vicky to move into his 2-bedroom apartment and share expenses. They invited Mom over for dinner one evening, and Mom noticed that Vicky was pretty and thought maybe Ricky and Vicky are more than just roommates. Over the course of the evening, Ricky and Vicky became a little uncomfortable with Mom's staring and wandering eyes. So Ricky stepped up, he confronted his mother. He said, "Mom, I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you, we're just roommates." About a week later, Vicky came to Ricky and said, "You know, ever since the night your mom was here for dinner, I've been unable to find that special silver plate that was hanging in the dinette. You don't think your mother took it, do you?" Ricky replied, "Well, I doubt it, but I'll email her just to be sure." He wrote, "Dear Mom, after your visit with me, the silver plate from the dinette has been missing. I'm not saying that you took the plate from my house, and I'm not saying that you didn't take the plate from my house, but the fact remains that the plate has been missing ever since your visit here for dinner. Love, Ricky." Several days went by and Ricky received an email response from his mother. "Dear son, I'm not saying that you sleep with your roommate, and I'm not saying that you don't sleep with her. But the fact remains that if she was sleeping in her own bed, she would have found the silver plate by now, the one I put under her pillow. Love, Mom." The point: people lie, customers lie, prospects lie, and your job is to lead through it, to lead in spite of it. By the way, one of the best tools I've found in helping lead customers is by saying everybody's doing it. For instance, if I know the best coverage is broad form collision with a slightly higher deductible versus standard collision, because either it's the best coverage or the best choice at the price point, combined with a 0 comprehensive deductible, especially since I know you're 4 times more likely to use your comprehensive insurance than your collision, and since comprehensive is for things that are an act of God type things that are not your fault, I don't think you should ever have to pay a deductible for something that isn't your fault, like hitting Bambi or someone stealing your car, getting your car keyed. I would say, everybody's choosing this coverage. It just makes good sense. That's a wordy example of leading. Now, back on point. How do I lead? How do I get people on the bridge from confused to excited? 3 ways. Number 1, actively listen. It is an art. You heard it said, you've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you can listen twice as much as you speak. But I love the following statement because it paints the picture of a proactive listener. Here it is. He who speaks the least earns the most. That's it. That's it. Now, maybe you've just rambled on with a customer in a discussion. You got a little wordy, enlightening, kind of like the preceding paragraph I just gave you on the difference between broad form collision deductibles and all that. So you led by making trustworthy statements. Good. Do that. But now, listen. Let him speak. Don't bulldoze your prospect. Early from the start, make him believe that you're listening and don't act. Really? Listen, because he may say something or not say something that will be the key to helping you win this deal. Here's a challenge. If you have a recording system in your agency that allows you to listen to calls, transcribe the sales call that you just had and tell me who spoke more. If he doesn't outperform you, you probably don't make the sale. Again, he who speaks least earns most. Number 2, create empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy. Sympathy means, I feel sorry for you, you unlucky son of a gun. Empathy means, I understand. I recognize. I get it. It is compassion. Sometimes I think we allow our conviction toward the rule book of insurance to cloud the way we come across in presentations. You don't ever want to come across as though you have no compassion. Remember, our mantra here is conviction toward principle, but compassion toward people. I'm in offices all the time where the CSRs say things like, well, here at State Farm, we don't allow that, or here at Allstate, our policy is blah, blah, blah. Just stop doing that. Rather say, that's not how insurance works. You see, if you get too specific related to what your company does and does not allow, we can accidentally plant a seed of doubt into their cranial computer, and that's dangerous. Let me give you 2 answers to questions you had not asked yet. Question number 1. What is the number one thing I can do to create empathy? The answer is ask questions. The average sales guy has no idea how to do this. He goes into download mode and he dumps all the features in a few breaths of unpaused diatribe. That must be exhausting every day. But think about your customer. Nobody ever listens to him. I mean, the kids, the wife, the employees, the friends, social media, nobody listens to that guy. Ask him some questions so he actually believes that you care. Question number 2, you might say, well, Mark, you told me the best thing I can do to create empathy is to ask questions. I think I can do that. That may lead you to ask the second question, and that is, what is the number one thing I can say to create empathy? And the answer is nothing. You can't say anything. You cannot practice empathy. You must be empathy. Saying or repeating, I understand, is akin to constantly reminding the customer to trust me. Saying I understand is like fingernails on a chalkboard. Be understanding. Don't limit your response to I understand. Number 3. Number 1, actively listen. Number 2, create empathy. And number 3, blast confidence. Never say, I think. Only say, I'm sure, or I know. Confident expressions like, here's what you need to do, or this has worked for every one of my customers, or I've been doing this since dinosaurs roamed the earth and I've never had one customer come back and ask me for a refund. In fact, exactly the opposite. Mr. Customer, the one thing I can tell you, I'm good at my job. Customer objects, says I'm not certain. Say, I'm certain for you. I've seen this work 1,000,000 times for my customers. Confidence is learning to speak with the authority that your position requires, and it begins with diagnosis. There's a process that leads to diagnosis, not the other way around. In other words, don't just blurt out the solution until you've built the bridge that gets the prospect from confused to enlightened. Let me illustrate. When you go to the doctor, he doesn't start with, let me tell you everything I know about cancer. It doesn't work that way. That's not a diagnosis, that's a download. Now the doctor takes temperature, blood pressure, vitals, tests, scans. He doesn't start on selling you on the benefits of cancer. Well, you lose weight. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. He asks questions. He listens. He employs empathy. He says, I've been treating cancer for a long time. I've seen this type of cancer thousands of times before. I've treated it. I've cured it. Well, to summarize, purchasing cut-rate car insurance is akin to risking everything. So, after you've built a strong base of communication and you've earned the right to speak by listening, being empathetic, and displaying confidence, feel free at this point to drop your diagnosis. What is that? Well, if you don't go with me, you may be sorry in a claim situation. My customers say that the number one reason they went with me was the promise, or the number one reason they stayed with me is because I kept my promises. I've never lied to one human in this business, and it shows in my numbers. More importantly, it shows in my reputation. Or, you can find some people who may say some bad things about me. I've been a pastor, sales owner, agency leader, a husband, a dad. In retrospect, you probably find several people who would say something bad about me, but not one of them will ever be a customer, one from the past, present, or future, and I'm proud of that. Now, if I'm holding a mic, I drop it and walk away. You cannot lose what you do not have. So after you've shown that you can shut up and listen, exhibit empathy, and blast confidence. Take a risk and speak your diagnosis with confidence. The only reason many of you don't is you don't believe what you're saying makes that great of a difference. And if that's you, I agree. Don't speak with confidence. In fact, don't speak at all. Get out of the business or find a company you can represent that actually keeps its promises. But for the rest of us, which is 99% of the people I'm addressing through this medium right now, speak up. Warn your customers. Act like you're the woman standing on the road in a storm, watching the cars passing you when you know the bridge is out. I can hear you shouting, "The bridge is out! The bridge is out!" You shout it with confidence. And even if you're not totally sure that the bridge is out, like you heard a rumor that the bridge was out, or you read it on Facebook, you wouldn't shout, "I think the bridge is out. I think the bridge is..." No. Stop. Stop. Let's figure this out together, whether the bridge is out while you're still alive. No more download. It is diagnosis or bust. This is the bridge over troubled waters. It is the quickest and the safest way to the sale. Thank you, Suma. You've been a great audience as always. I will see you in our next episode.